when we're in abusive relationships, we become what's known as codependent to them. And what that means is we become addicted to a person who is emotionally unavailable to us. Quite often, they might even have their own addictions to alcohol or drugs. And how this addiction starts is we become hooked in by their charisma and this intense high that we get when we're with them at the start. And then gradually their behavior starts to change and we get these glimmers of a darker side. But then we sort of forgive them and we think that if we can change our behavior, then maybe that side of them will go away. And we get hooked into this cycle of abuse. And by the time that the highs get fewer and further between, the lows get lower and lower and more abusive behavior starts to kick in, we have become so addicted to chasing that high again, wanting that nice person back, not the nasty one, that it becomes like an addiction and a futile search for that feeling that you get at the beginning and that nice person that can give us that feeling. The person that who is hurting us is actually the only person who can make us feel good about ourselves again. But this isn't a healthy relationship. This is what I call an addiction. And so it's codependency. It is an addiction to somebody who is no good for us. It's addicted to someone who hurts us. And we think it's love. We convince ourselves that it's love. But in a way, you're sort of loving too much. You're loving somebody who is not loving you in return. So it is what they say is a codependency. So are you addicted to love? Well, I'd ask you these questions. Were you hooked in at the start? Did you have that intense high when you first met them? Did you think, that they were so charismatic? It swept you off your feet. You'd never felt an intensity of that connection that you've got with them with anybody else. It just feels like the most intense connection and the most amazing high at the beginning. And then did you only see what you wanted to see? I had all these warning flags, and there were the red flags and the warning signs very early on for me. But I only saw what I wanted to see, and I ignored all of them and I excused them away because I loved the feeling I got from this charismatic person at the start. So that is what I wanted him to be. So I only saw what I wanted to see and I ignored the warning flags. Are you doing that? Are you seeing these warning flags but ignoring them and only seeing what you want to see, which is that they are this charismatic person that they first presented to you? Are you feeling the need to be needed? You might like that feeling. Actually, I did, I'm sure. That, did they tell you about a past that they had was really difficult? A tough child upbringing when they were a child? Have they talked about how they've been unlucky in love and no relationship has ever worked for me? My ex has always had affairs, or they've not been nice, they might have been abusive or whatever. Have they talked about how, down and out they've been? So, some sob story that makes you feel the need to rescue them. And you go into this rescue mode where you are saving them, this wonderful charismatic person, from this tough past or unfair circumstances that have befallen them and come their way. Are you going into that relationship with that need to be needed and the need to rescue them, and that they need you to change them into the person you really know they are deep down inside and you can make them be? That's basically rescuing them. Are you starting to shift your boundaries if you see any unacceptable behavior? For example, if they start to show signs of erupting in anger all the time and you don't like it, it makes you feel uncomfortable, but because they explain it away with remorse and I'm sorry, that's not like me, I'm never going to do that again, do you then go, oh, okay, accept it and stay in that relationship, not walk away? You might even shift your boundaries if they say, well, I don't want you to wear makeup. You're so beautiful, I don't think you need to wear makeup, so you stop wearing makeup. You like to wear makeup, but you stop wearing it. They start to say to you, I don't like those friends, so you stop seeing those friends. Are you shifting your boundaries every time they push them or test them? I know one of the Rubicons I crossed was when I first was shoved. It was a little sign of physical abuse, the first sign, and it really shocked me. But when he explained it and apologized, that's not me, I'm never going to do that again, I then accepted it and stayed and shifted my boundary. And you see, by doing that, I, in a way, inadvertently, give permission for that to happen again. So are you shifting your boundaries over what you normally would accept? Are you changing your behavior in the relationship to make them happy and keep the peace? For example, if they are saying, well, I got angry because whenever I come home, you do X or Y and I don't like it. So then you think, oh gosh, I better not do X or Y because then he's going to get angry. So you start to change your behavior so they don't get angry. You start to, in a way, accept responsibility that you are to blame for that anger. So therefore you have to modify what you do in order to not have that abuse happen. So changing your behavior is a really big sign that that relationship you're in is not a healthy one. You should be, in a healthy relationship, allowed to be who you are and loved for who you are and accepted for who you are, not expected to bend yourself into a pretzel shape trying to avoid anger, abuse, upset and arguments. Are you trying to change them? Are you trying to, in a way, modify your behavior in the hope that you will change theirs and they'll no longer be angry? Because you really want them to be the lovely person you first met, not this angry one you're now seeing. Because you don't like that side, you like the nice side. So you're trying to change them. You will do everything to try and change them. They don't have a job. Well, then I'll pay for things, because then if I pay for things, maybe they'll then get a better chance of a job interview because they'll be able to get to that interview. They'll have money for the bus or whatever. Are you trying to change them by stopping them from drinking because their behavior gets worse if they have a drink? So I'm trying to get you to stop drinking. Whatever it is, are you trying to change them into the person you hope and believe they really are deep down and might become one day in the future? Or are you accepting them unconditionally for who they are right now? Are you caring more about them than yourself? So if they have behaved really unacceptably and not very nicely to you, and then they're really remorseful and upset and sorry, I'm never going to do that again, are you then feeling more sorry for them than the abuse that they've just dished out to you a few minutes before? Do you feel guilty about leaving them because you think, well, what will happen to them if I leave? Are you putting their needs and well-being before yours and always thinking about, I feel sorry for them because they had that tough past. Not I feel sorry for me because they just shoved me or they just screamed at me and told me it was my fault. You put them first, you feel sorry for them, you feel guilty about them. Are you seeing them as having two sides? I call it the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Do you think, well, they're that lovely, charismatic, nice person I first met. Not this side I keep seeing that's really dark and nasty and not very nice. That's not the real them. They keep telling me it's not the real them. So I just want to keep chasing and living for the nice side because I don't believe that nasty side is really them. Not accepting that actually they are the same person and they are accountable. Both the nice one and the nasty one are accountable for their actions and behavior. Do you feel an intense, really intense pull towards them? That is as intense as it was when you first met them, you know, that high that you got when you first met them. So by that I mean, even if you've now realized that the relationship is no good for you and you find the courage to walk away and leave, do you feel that intense pull back to them that just makes you feel, I just can't leave them, I love them. I really love them and I can't bear the pain of when I'm without them. They're the only thing that can make me feel good about themselves. I'm going to go back. That really intense pull towards them. And are you scared of losing them? Are you, because of that intensity, feeling, I know in my head I should leave them because this relationship is no good for me and I deserve better than this. But my heart is telling me I love them and I'm terrified of never seeing them again and being without that relationship. All of these things I'm describing are signs of a very unhealthy relationship and that you may in fact be addicted to love, addicted to them in a very unhealthy, codependent way. You have this really unhealthy need for each other, yet you're no good for each other. It's abusive, yet the only person who can make you feel good about yourself is that person who hurts you and who has abused you. This is not a healthy love, you know. A healthy love doesn't have that desperation, that intensity, that needing to rescue them, that having two sides where they show you the wonderful side and the nasty side, the wonderful side, the nasty side. A healthy relationship, you don't change your behavior the whole time, anticipating the other person's. A healthy relationship, you accept them unconditionally. You don't try to change them. You're not there just waiting for and hoping for them to become the person you hope they might be one day in the future when you get that nice person back. So I would say, if you are in a relationship where you feel any of this, perhaps you are addicted to love. And in a relationship that you're codependent within, and it's not a healthy one. So I would urge you to get help and support. I've listed domestic violence resources, helplines, free helplines, in my blog, my website, www.beingunbeatable.com. Love shouldn't hurt. I know, you know, the old-fashioned thing is that love should hurt and it should be intense with these highs and these lows and that really is love. But that is not what love should be. If you're equating love with being in pain, then as Robin Norwood says in her book, Women Who Love Too Much, you're loving too much. And you should consider whether this is being addicted to love rather than a healthy form of love.